fan. It's Governor Christie playing
9
the
o'clock, baby.
1 hour to go, and then off to D.C. to go. Have you offered to be the entertainment for any of the inauguration events?
No.
You've not?
No, I've not.
Is this your first inauguration?
No.
We got to go to Bush's, right?
Yeah, I went to Bush's.
He's in the hospital. You aware of that?
Bush 43?
They just announced it, yeah. Stable condition, but he's in. He was just admitted to the hospital, I guess, this morning or last night.
Okay,
You were very close with him, right?
I am.
With all the Bushes?
More with President Bush 43 than the others, but I also close to Jeb.
Got it. So when you're at the inauguration, I would think, A, it's going to be cold outside.
Yes.
What are the rules of that whole thing?
In terms of what?
Well, like, what if you got to go to the bathroom? You got to just do what you want to do? What if, like, yeah, you...
It's a national security, Secret Service run thing, so...
Right. Like, do you raise your hand? I gotta go. That
You
type
know,
of thing?
you hold it.
You do?
Yeah.
Like, what if you have a sneezing attack or you're coughing?
Well, that's okay. That's all right.
That's all? That's good.
That's
But
fine.
You have to sit there, like, for a long time, right?
Yeah, a couple hours at least.
That's no good. I can't do that. Can you ask for, like, special, like, standing area?
Oh, yeah. There's like, listen, the restriction on staying seated is kind of if you're on the platform.
You got to stay right there.
Yeah.
You're not on the platform, are you?
I am.
You are.
Yeah.
Look at you. People have thought you're on the outs with Trump.
It's just so right. He gave an interview yesterday in the Wall Street Journal that said exactly the opposite. So
right.
It's, you know.
People have gotten great joy out of the appearance that you have somehow been screwed over by Trump.
Yeah. In the meantime, I turned down a number of job offers,
right,
which they've said and I've said,
right,
because I wanted to stay as governor,
right.
And you know, I don't know why this is hard for people to believe, but
because people like winners and losers.
Yeah,
and they pick like everyone knows the Cowboys are losers. They lost.
They lost to Green Bay. Listen, there's no arguing that.
And there's one of two reactions. You either love the fact that they lost or you're miserable that they lost.
Right.
But there's no, like, the Cowboys like Duke basketball, old school Notre Dame football.
Yankees.
Because Yankees for a long time because they're so good.
Yep.
Or just so popular for whatever the reason might be that you wind up, sports needs enemies.
Yep.
We need the UConn women's basketball team.
That's right.
We need the New England Patriots.
Exactly.
Because you need someone to root against. Even if you have no connection to that team, well, on Sunday's game, there were people rooting against the Dallas Cowboys who have no connection to the Dallas Cowboys as a fan, but they didn't want to see that team in the Super Bowl.
That's right.
And that's the reality of it.
That's right. Like, I have a son who's my oldest son's a Jets fan.
Right.
And he said, I hate the Patriots, I hate the Steelers.
Right.
And I hate the Packers.
There you go.
He said, so I guess I have to root for Atlanta.
So he went for Atlanta.
So he's rooting for Atlanta.
He's not that emotional.
It's an anti. It's an anti thing.
Right. His emotions are against the team. It was more so than, hey, I want to see Matt Ryan do well.
Yeah, no.
Right, but that's how people view you.
Well, there's no doubt.
Well, you're aware of that.
Well, sure. And it's whenever you've been extraordinarily popular, the media in particular wants to make you extraordinarily unpopular because that's part of their gig.
Right.
And so part of writing all this stuff is all about that. But like, you know, the truth of the matter is that, the president-elect and I have been friends for 15 years.
Right.
And we'll be friends long after he leaves the White House.
And you still are friends.
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
Right. You're not going to work for him.
Yeah, I'm sitting on.
But it doesn't mean you're not friendly.
Well, that's right. I mean, like, if he, he didn't, and I said this when I was on, a number of different interviews I've given over the course of the last week or two. I said, he didn't offer me a job that I thought was exciting enough for me to leave the governorship. Now, why is that hard to believe? And my family, because, Mary Pat made really clear she wasn't coming to D.C.
Right. And you've had to have given at least a 2-year commitment to be in there.
Correct.
To do whatever the job was, to do it well. You can't be a 9-month, you got to be all in for a couple of years. And without being telling tales out of school, you have young kids that are still in school locally.
Yeah.
And a wife and have dedicated a couple decades of your life to public service. It means you're not around as much as you'd like to be.
Yep.
And there was a job, of course, that you would have taken, but it's not like they haven't offered you jobs.
No, a number of them. And the fact is that, like, I was really honest with him. I just said, like, I don't want to leave the governorship and leave my family for that.
Right.
And he was great about it. He's like, I get it.
How many people said no to job offers to him? Probably not a lot.
Not a lot. Not a lot. A few.
I think someone's going to be like, you said no. What do you say no? How do you say no? I'm the president.
Trumpy McTrump face.
He's not a guy who takes no well.
Like when you say no to him for one of the jobs, does he come back and does he pep you 5 more times? Like, Does he call you late night? Hey, Chris, you sure you don't want the job?
No.
Or see, you say no, he's done.
No. He's not like the call you late at night and pepper you. He's the kind of guy when you're his friend who, he'll say to you, come on.
Right.
We'll have fun.
Right. Doesn't say you're making a bad decision.
He just come on. No, he doesn't try to. He's not the kind of guy who will insult you if you're his friend that way. My experience with him has always been like he tries to make it sound like so great.
Right.
That how could you say no to that? Like this is going to be so much fun. We're going to have such a great time. We're going to do such great things. And I think he is going to do great things. But, for me, I also made a commitment. And my deal 4 years ago when I ran for re-election was I was very honest with people. I told them I wasn't going to rule out running for president.
Right.
I wanted to be president. I ran for president. I lost. And I think it's very hard to leave after that unless it's something that you feel really called to do, and I didn't.
Right. Now, here's my question. You're friends for 20 years, so you call him Donald or Don, whatever you call him, right?
Call him Donald.
Donald. How awkward would it be to now have to call him out of respect Mr. President?
I already do.
I'd have a problem with that.
Hey, listen, you got to catch yourself.
I wouldn't call you that.
You got to. Yes, you would.
And I've thought about it.
Yes, you would.
I might say to you, President Christie.
Yeah. Or hey, you.
Hey, you're up on the clock for the draft. Let's go.
Hey, let's go.
Auto pick. And you frankly let us down because Boom and I had this dream of the fantasy football draft
in the White House.
That was
with really
the sitting president being in the draft with us, eating chicken wings, drinking beer in the White House.
By the way,
screwed us.
It was the only reason I ran.
So that we could have that experience.
You do it. You guys could do it.
It'd be great to have Secret Service on the line. Governor Christie's pick is in 3 minutes, please. Excuse me, President Christie's pick in 3 minutes. We are on a secured line. Wouldn't it be great?
It would have been fabulous.
Like Ari Fleischman comes out and goes, "The president will pick Ezekiel Elliott."
How about this? How about you walk up on Pennsylvania Avenue to the gates of the White House?
Go ahead.
And they say yes, and you say, Craig Carton,
who are you going to see?
And all of a sudden you hear, and the gate opens.
And I'm walking into the White House.
And you're walking down the driveway.
With my Orlad's draft guide.
Yeah, right. With you. That's great. That's old school.
Yeah.
Our Orlad's draft guide and a tray of wings.
Right. Who's the guy with the wings?
Yeah.
The 17 notebooks and pens. That's the president's fantasy football guy.
That's Carton. And they're running the fantasy football league draft tonight. Don't you understand? Because where you'd have to do it.
Where would it be?
The Situation Room. So in case something like happens around the world,
you're okay.
I'm right there.
Guys, need you to leave the room.
Guys, excuse me.
That would be awesome.
The military escorts will take you from the room now.
Screwed us. You
Big
really
time.
let us down.
Let me tell you.
I mean,
I did. I'm sorry.
You never should have gone to New Hampshire. You should have blown New Hampshire off.
Oh, Lord.
Start somewhere.
Everybody's got a theory now. Where were you then?
Governor, you're going to do great in New Hampshire. Don't go to New Hampshire.
Don't, for God's sake.
Give it to somebody else. Yeah, so the question now is, if I'm in that situation,
right,
and I just say, hey, Chris, people look at me like, who's Chris?
Yeah, they would look at you
That's like
strange.
a problem, right?
Yeah. I mean, for me, with the president-elect, I have to think about it.
Right, because normally
for 15
Donald.
years, I'd be saying Donald. And so when I've been on the phone with him.
What do you say?
I say Mr. President-elect. But like once or twice in the last 6-7 weeks, I've slipped.
And is there a reaction?
Because we're in a back and forth. No, he's great about it. He doesn't care.
He doesn't stop. Hey, it's Mr.
Excuse
President.
me.
Hey,
Excuse me.
Who do you think you are?
The first time when I after he was declared the winner.
Right.
And we were, all together having a good time in the immediate aftermath of the election up in his apartment. I went over to him and I said, "So how does it feel, Mr. President-elect?"
Right.
And he just looked at me and goes, "That's weird, isn't it?" And I'm like, I mean, it's a different thing. I think he's much more used to it now.
Right. It's been a month.
Yep. Than he was before. But it's all going to hit him on Friday.
It's like an avalanche, right?
Yeah, it is.
I suppose, and you can't be prepared for what's about to happen.
I mean, I remember what it was like when I got sworn in as governor, and all of a sudden you are the governor, and you walk into that office the first time as the boss.
And it was like, Mr. Governor, right?
Yeah, and everybody's, it's different, and it takes a little time to get used to. And president is like that on double dose steroids.
Had you become president, what is the one national secret or urban legend secret that you would have wanted to learn about first?
Roswell.
No doubt.
First off.
Take me to Roswell.
I want the briefing on Roswell.
Right.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, just on the fun side of things, yeah.
Is there really a UFO underground there? Do we have Martians dead or whatever? Right. You'd want to know.
Of course.
Yeah. I think that's everybody's, right?
I would think that's most people's.
Can you find out for us?
No, I can't because I didn't win.
But they're like, there's got to be someone's got to have loose lips at some point before they die, or like Trump finds out. Yeah. What do you think?
I agree. Aliens number 1. Who killed Kennedy number 2?
But I think with the Kennedy thing, it's one of two choices, right? Like you either think
The mob, the CIA,
mob was behind
the Cubans.
There was a hit on him, obviously, and most people, I think, don't think Oswald did it all by himself. That being said, I think we have a pretty good understanding who did it exactly. We don't know, so I agree with you. We'd like to know that, but I wonder if there's some other type of like crazy secret that
only the president gets to know?
Yeah, there's got to be some, right?
I don't know.
Like the underground bunkers in Nebraska. How do we get to them? You know what I mean?
Well, President Bush 43 went to them on 9/11.
They made him go, right?
They made him go in there. They landed him in at that Air Force base in Nebraska, and he went down into those bunkers.
That's crazy.
That's got to be a pretty wild
Has he
moment.
ever talked about that?
Not to me.
No. Now, here's one more for you. Don't you want to know the truth about the 69 moon landing?
I think I already do.
You think we went?
Oh, sure.
You think we actually walked on the moon before we had color TV?
You could get a backyard telescope if it's good enough and see footprints on the moon. So it happened.
Excuse me? It's happened since then. I buy that possibly. You can get a telescope and see footprints on the moon?
Yes.
Got a telescope, not through Amazon you can't. How do you see a footprint on the moon? It's like a billion miles away.
And probably like the rover that's still up there that we left up there, double parked up there.
The flag?
Yeah.
Now, here's the other question. If there's no gravity, how do those things stay on the surface?
There is gravity. It's about, what is it, 1/4 of Earth or something?
But wouldn't it would have to be up in the air a little bit?
No.
No, because, and remember, the guys were able to walk on there. If there's no gravity, they wouldn't have walked.
You're assuming that they were there.
I'm not one of those guys who thinks that was a hoax.
How is there a shadow and why is the flag waving if there's no atmosphere?
They have the flag put out.
But you know what I'm saying? It's waving.
No,
like there's wind.
no,
there's no wind on the moon.
No, it's not
atmosphere.
waving. That's the way it's.
Eddie,
why are we having this conversation?
I'm just wondering.
Because it's Craig.
Wouldn't you want to know for a fact that we really landed there?
I know we've been there.
Let me tell you, at 9:14,
because I think we were
people are driving into a bridge abutment over this conversation.
We wanted to make sure we got there before the Russians did. I get that. So we maybe went to a soundstage somewhere and we filmed it.
No.
Not possible.
No.
Uh-huh.
No.
You're sure?
Don't be an idiot.
Here's Jerry and Colt's Neck on the Fan. And I think